Hi guys, so I have an announcement to make. No, I'm not pregnant. However, I am debt free. Yes. Do a little praise right there. Shout. It has been a long time coming. And I'm sorry, y'all, if the video shakes, it's because I'm actually recording from my new iPhone 7. I just didn't feel like pulling out the camera, so I actually have my phone on top of my laptop recording on top of the table. So if I hit the table, it's going to shake the camera. But that has nothing to do with why we're here. I just want to tell you guys that I'm debt free. If you've been following me for some time, then you know that I have been on this journey to pay off all debts, which in my case have solely been student loans. For the past 3 years, I started this journey December of 2012. December of 2013. I decided that I was going to start this whole journey of becoming debt free. By then, I had already caught on to Dave Ramsey, and I was just excited about being gazelle intense, following the baby steps, and just paying off all of my student loans. So if you haven't been following me or know the story, I'll kind of backtrack and give you a picture of my financial history, so to speak. So, like I said, this journey started at the tail end of 2013. Prior to that, I'll just tell you exactly what the loans kind of stem from. So, like most Americans, millennials, my age, you have student loan debt. And mine started at the ripe age of 17 when I decided to go to undergraduate school. And thankfully for me, I decided to stay in state. And that was more on the fact that, one, the school that I really wanted to go to out of state did not accept some of the college classes that I had taken previously. And then two, in-state, one of the colleges here offered me a scholarship and waived my application fee. So I was like, yeah, if you throw money at me, I'll come. So I stayed in-state, which kind of helped reduce the cost of my education. Though I did get an academic scholarship, it did not cover the total cost of tuition. It helped, but it didn't cover everything. So thankfully, my parents were able to help assist me, but what wasn't covered by both my parents and the scholarships that I received was covered by student loans. And at 17, I had no clue what I was signed up for, but eventually I learned that it was a lot of money. So I finished undergrad, and then, of course, you get a deferment. So I decided to go to grad school for many reasons. One, because I wanted to get my graduate degree, but two, because I just wasn't ready to be an adult. And three, they give you a deferment. So I went to graduate school, but with that came more student loans. This time my parents did not help me. So all 100% of my education was financed through student loans. That covered my tuition, my books, and then it also covered for me to have housing. So I got an apartment off campus and commuted to school every day. So that was a lot of money. It was a whole lot of money. Thankfully, before I graduated grad school, I had a job. Praise the Lord, I had a job. That was the only thing that kept me in grad school, by the way, because that was such a difficult time in my life. But having a job was like I had to graduate. So I graduated, and I graduated with a lot of debt. I'm well over 77,000, because when I started paying off my student loans in 2013, that particular day, that point in time, I was above 77,000. So it was a lot of money in student loans. Like, that was a car. That was definitely a car that I could have bought. So anyway, fast forward, I graduate, I get a job. I was blessed to have a job that paid me very well. However, I did not know how to manage that money. I thought I was being smart, grad school, I'm going to come up with this budget. I got my job offer. I see how much money I'm going to make. I'm like, yes, I'm about to ball out. I make this budget, and then not knowing how much the government's going to take out, not knowing anything about how much healthcare is going to take out. So I was just completely, I would say, financially ignorant. So I didn't have a real plan. So then I ended up moving halfway across the country to the great nation of Texas, the country of Texas. I moved to Texas, started working, and then the money that I thought I was gonna make, I just never saw it. I didn't see it, and mostly because I just didn't know how to manage it. So I was paying the minimum on all of my student loans because it was so much. When I tell you it was upwards of $77,000, it was a lot of money that I was putting in monthly to pay for student loans. So I was paying for student loans. I was living in Houston, which means everything's expensive, right? So I was paying a large amount of money for an apartment, and it was just a lot going on. Thankfully, I didn't have any of the debt. I didn't have any car debt or anything like that. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. So I was paying minimum on my student loans, and it just felt like for someone who was in a very good field, I was just living paycheck to paycheck. And so one day I just got tired of it. Like, I was trying to save money, couldn't save, and it was just a mess. And part of the reason was, one, I didn't have a budget because I didn't know how to budget. And two, I was just spending money on reckless stuff. Like, I was never one to buy a whole bunch of clothes. I'm not into fashion. I can find some of the nicest clothes and make it look, more than it costs for like $5. Like, I'm a bargain shopper. So it was never about clothes, but it was stuff like makeup. Like, I had hundreds of dollars worth of makeup items that I would go purchase. It would be weave, hair. Look, I know over the course of the years I've spent well in the hundreds, if not thousands, on I won't say thousands, over $1,000 on hair stuff. Which, by the way, none of it has benefited me in any way. Like, I learned how to do makeup. I learned how to do my own hair, but it's not like I was able to monetize any of the things that I purchased. So it was a lot of just spending recklessly on stuff that I didn't need, and not really knowing how to budget, not knowing how to save. So eventually, my job had this financial education workshop. So I took advantage of it. It was hosted by his financial advisor for a business. So, of course, he wanted business in return. And I was crazy enough to think that he could help me when, like, for many people, here's a revelation. For many people, you think, oh, okay, I just need someone to teach me, which is true. You need knowledge. But 99% of it is discipline. And that's what I didn't have when it came to money. So I'm thinking like everyone else, I signed up for this financial advisor. He's going to help me, and I'm going to, have all the money. I'm going to be set for, for my future. And that was a flop. So I ended up having to pay this guy a large sum of money, 10% of my yearly salary. I had to pay him, and I got nothing out of it. And talk about someone who was ticked off. That was a very expensive lesson to learn. He didn't teach me anything that I couldn't figure out on my own or find the resources to learn about. So I did just that. I started reading books, I started reading articles, and I just figured out how to do finance on my own. So I learned how to budget, and I started getting things on track. And at the time, I was a firm believer in credit, so I got a credit card to build my credit and all that stuff, which I have different opinions on now. And I'll probably do another video talking about my finances now. How I manage, or how we manage finances. But anyway, so I got a credit card and did all the stuff that they tell you to do. But I still wasn't where I wanted to be. So that was 2012. Fast forward to the end of that year, I decided that I wanted to move back to the East Coast. I wanted to move back home. So I moved back. And in moving back, I kind of reconnected with my now husband. And we started dating. And the crazy thing is, if you follow me outside of here, if you follow my blog, if you follow me on social media or whatever, you knew that I wasn't going to date anyone until I knew that was my spouse. So we started dating, which means we were going to get married in my eyes. He didn't think the same thing, but I knew we were going to get married. So we talked about finances. And I always prayed for a man, and I had my little list. I wanted a man who was good with his finances. And it turned out to be him. He was completely debt-free. Now, that kind of, spurred something in me, or stirred something in me, rather, because if I was going to marry this man, I was not going to give him this large financial burden that I had. I felt terrible about it. I'm like, he's debt-free, and if we get married, I'm going to pile on like $80,000 worth of debt, and that's so unfair. So I was like, okay, I got to get my act together, which I was trying to. I really was making steps. And he told me about Dave Ramsey. Now, I had heard about Dave Ramsey before at my church in Houston. They were offering the Financial Peace University. And I just didn't think it was for me, because I believed the lie that student loans were for the next 30 years of your life. And I thought that people who were taking that class were trying to get rid of mortgages, which I didn't have. So he told me about Dave Ramsey. He told me about the book, The Total Money Makeover, and I decided to read it. And I read that book straight through and decided I'm going to get on this plan. So at the end of 2013, yeah. So I met him, or moved back at the end of 2012. We reconnected in 2013. Read the book. So December 2013, I decided to get on the plan. And at the end of the year, I think it was December 5th, I cleared out my savings and I put a large sum of money towards paying off my debt. And any money that I got from Christmas would be put towards paying off that debt. And so I did just that, and it started my snowball. And I talk about the debt snowball in one of my blogs, and I'll put the link in the description box. But I started the debt snowball. Any extra money that I got, any money from taxes, if I got a raise, if I got a bonus. At that time, I was a supervisor. So if I got overtime, all that extra money would go towards paying off the loans. So I made tremendous progress. That, coupled with having a budget to tell every dollar where to go. And so I was able to pay off my undergraduate student loans within a year and 2 months. And I was pushing for that year, but, I had to buy Christmas presents and all that stuff. So a year and 2 months, I was able to pay off $24,000. Let's see the exact number. I paid off $24,338.59 in a year and 2 months. And that took sacrifice. I think people, a lot of times, they were like, oh, what do you do? Or how much do you make? And it's really not about how much you make. Granted, if you make more, obviously, it'll take less time. But the whole point of this thing is discipline. It takes discipline, having a budget, not trying to live outside of your means, and not trying to keep up with the Joneses. During that time, when I moved there, I was living in a nice townhome. It was completely less expensive than some of the apartments, which is why I got it. But I was living in a townhome. And then even then, I loved it. But I decided, I'm going to downsize and pay less in rent so I can put more money towards paying off my debt. So I made sacrifices in that regard to help pay off loans. And I didn't go on vacations. I didn't buy, new clothes. And I would go on, Facebook and Instagram and social media and see some of my classmates who I know probably have some student loan debts out there balling it out. And in my head, I'm thinking, boy, you got to pay for that later. So anyway, I paid the undergraduate off. So that was like the momentum that I needed to continue paying everything else off. So that was 2014. So I continued paying on my graduate loans, which to me felt like it was going to be a journey, because that's where the bulk of the loan payments were. So of that $77,831.27. Of that $77,000, 53 of it was from graduate school. So I went to a private school for graduate school. If I told y'all the name, yeah, I paid a good penny for a network, is what I'll say. I paid a very hefty price to go to graduate school, and I'll talk about the benefits in another video. But anyway, so that was a large sum of money. So I'm thinking, okay, I paid 24 whatever off. I paid a lot of it off. But now was the real challenge, because with my undergraduate student loans, it was small loans combined. So it was easy for me to knock off $2,000, then knock off $6,000, $8,000, knock it off and do the snowball. But now I was looking at a huge loan of like $33,000. That is a car. That was one loan. So I just knew it was going to take time. So I kept plowing. And I can't tell you guys how discouraging it can be to see yourself making payments only for it all to go to interest and not even go to your principal. So that was kind of discouraging, but I kept at it. Put any extra money. During this time, I was able to get promotions and raises. So the Lord blessed me. And I will tell you guys, during this whole time, I tithe. I don't care if I ain't have money for groceries because I had spent everything on makeup or anything like that. I paid. The Lord got his 10% regardless. I wasn't jipping God out. I might have gypped my refrigerator out, but the Lord got his money, and because of that, I believe he has been faithful. He has allowed me to pay off my loans expeditiously. Not only that, he has provided funds. When I tell you funds from the north, the east, the west, the south, money coming from everywhere because I gave during this time. I tithe. Not only did I tithe, but whenever the church had something coming up, whenever there was an opportunity to bless the man and woman of God, I did that, and the Lord returned that to me. But anyway, I just had to throw that in there. Anyway, so I had this huge graduate student loan of like $33,000, which is a lot, but I plowed at it. And then fast forward to 2015, was still working on it, but then I got engaged, and that was good. It was good. Trust me, it was good. We're married now, and we were loving it. But then I was thinking, man, I have to pay for a wedding. So obviously that put a hold on paying off student loans aggressively. So we spent a year. We got engaged in March of 2015 and married in April 2016. So that was a year of funding a wedding. So all the money extra that would have gone towards paying off my student loans now went toward paying for a wedding, cash flowing a wedding. So we did that. We cash flowed our wedding. Which, looking back on it, I was like, man, we really could have just gone to the courthouse and we would have paid off the student loan a lot faster. But, I don't regret my wedding. It was nice and expensive. But, we paid off the wedding cash. And then as soon as we got back from the honeymoon, we just started throwing any extra cash at my student loans. Now, I will make this point. We were in this together. So even before we got married, even though my husband didn't have any debt coming in, all the debt was mine. He took it on as his because we became one, and that's how we manage our finances as one. So he will always say we paid off our loans, even though it was my loans. But we came together financially, and we just started throwing money at the loans. And again, the Lord continued to bless us. Like, we tithe, we gave, and bonuses out of nowhere. Money just for doing a great job. So I'm telling you, the Lord is awesome when you pay your tithes. So we started paying them off, and the plan was to have them paid off in November. And then I challenged us to say, hey, let's get them paid off in October, because my birthday is in October. I said, let's get them paid off on my birthday. And so that was our challenge. And then one night we were just laying in bed, and we were like, let's just pay them off now. And I'm telling you, it is a liberating feeling. I don't know if it's fully hit me yet. I think it'll fully hit me when we get paid and the money stays in the bank account. And we can actually see the bank account growing, as opposed to it going out to some student loan company or whatever. So it's an amazing feeling. It's been a journey. It's been 3 years, over 3 years. So I started December 2013. So it hasn't quite been 3 years. Man, so it's been 2 years and some months, and we paid off a total of, $77,831.27. That's amazing. That is amazing. And so now, gosh, it's so liberating. Like, it just puts a different feeling, like knowing we still have a budget. The budget doesn't go away. We still have a budget. You still have to have discipline. That's how you maintain financial freedom and independence and not go back into the bondage. But even I went out to get some food today, and it was liberating knowing that I don't owe anybody anything. And if I want to go to the store and buy something, obviously within the budget, I can do it and not have to worry about having to pay someone later. Like, these loans are gone. I owe no man nothing but love. I don't owe anyone. We don't owe anyone anything. And that is an amazing feeling that I want everyone to have. I want everyone to be financially free. And there's just so much that goes into it. Like, even though we got married this year, which, we went on a honeymoon, but we cash flowed it. We haven't gone on, we didn't go on ridiculous vacations. We don't go out and just buy. We don't go to the mall. Like, literally, when we go to the mall, it is for the sole purpose of going to the Apple store and looking at the new technology. That's it. Or if I have a gift card to go to the store and buy some makeup or whatever that I need. Not that I want, that I need. But it's sacrifice. Like, granted, we've only been married 6 months, so within 6 months we paid off a large chunk. Even then, it's sacrifice. We could have easily said, man, we'll take care of this later. We'll go ahead and go buy a house and do what everyone else does. We'll go buy a new car. All those things that is expected of a married couple. We didn't do it. We like being different, and we are different now. How many people do you know that paid off their student loans before that? We are in our 20s, late 20s, granted, but we're in our 20s and we're debt free. So we have the rest of our lives to continue building wealth and to continue giving. And man, I can't tell you the amazing feeling that it is to know that one day we'll be at a point where we're able to bless someone, that they don't even have to go through this struggle. Like, granted, we want to be able to pay for our kids' college someday, but to pay for another child's college who can't afford to go, or who don't have the parents to help, and who don't want to get in debt trying to go. Like, to be able to get to that point in life where I could just give and make someone's reality of dream of an educational reality. And it's just an amazing feeling knowing that at this point now in life we're set up to do that. Our future is set up to be just financially free and to continue to be givers. And gosh, it's going to be an amazing feeling. We have a campaign coming up at church, our expansion offering, for us to expand our ministry. And it's going to be an amazing feeling when we're able to give a lot more than we've been able to give in the past when we've had our campaigns at church. Like, that's an amazing feeling when I can give like no one else, as Dave Ramsey says, because I've lived like no one else. Like, I haven't been going on crazy vacations. I haven't been going to the store shopping. I have not bought a pair of red bottoms, regardless of how bad I wanted them. I haven't done any of those things. Don't hate on someone else because of the sacrifices that they made and the decisions that they made that you did not make. And what I will say also, though, is this program works for everyone, because discipline works for everyone. Discipline works for everyone. So that's what I'll say about that. The program works for everyone. It's not for just people who make, 6 figures or people who make $500,000 a year. No, you can make it on whatever salary you have. It's called a budget and living within your means. So I won't get off on a tangent, but which I already have. I just want to come on and share that. It's an amazing feeling. I'll probably do a series talking about finances and the things that I've learned and the things that we do now and the things that I believe to be true about how to manage your finances. But anyway, just wanted to come on and share that. And hopefully you guys are celebrating with us, because that's the best way to get your blessing, is when you celebrate with others. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.